I feel honored to introduce and welcome Mr. H.N. Shrinivas. He is a seasoned HR professional with over 25 years of experience in leadership roles, known for his dedication to create exemplary work environments. Having held the prestigious position of Senior Vice President at the Taj Group of Hotels, where he led both total quality and business excellence and human resource. He played a pivotal role in building a customer-centric culture. Its innovative employee engagement strategies earned Taj recognition as one of the top 15 companies globally by Gallup, INC, and multiple global Great Workplace Awards. His work at Taj is even immortalized as a Harvard case study for exemplary HR practices. He has also contributed his expertise to Hewlett Packard, where he managed HR for a workforce of over 10,000 software engineers. His commitment to social impact is evident in his leadership of the relief efforts post of 26/11 Mumbai terror attacks and his current involvement with Tata Trust and Tata Institutes of Social Sciences on skill development projects aimed at uplifting underprivileged youths. A recipient of multiple accolades, including the Seasoned HR Professional of the Country Award and NIPM's Lifetime Achievement Award, he continues to inspire through his passion for people development and his dedication to creating positive change. So, ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together to welcome Mr. H.N. Shrinivas.
Most
Good
welcome,
afternoon.
Shrinivas.
Good afternoon to everybody.
And I would like to inform everybody about Shrinivas Saab that he is a mentor, our guide in Council of Ancient Wisdom also. He is right now also working as a consultant and senior advisor at Tata Trust National Project, Tata Indian Institute of Skills. This is a PMO visibility project. So nice to have you here, Shrinivas ji. We all are eager to listen about service, a spiritual practice transforming communities.
Thank you, Vikramji, and thanks for a very flattering introduction. And I was listening to Haji Saab, and it was very inspiring the way he spoke and the thoughts that he shared with all of us. See, what I'm going to share for the next 14, 15 minutes is drawn from my own experience, not any theoretical thing. I'll be quoting anecdotes and translating them into how the deeper connect with the higher purpose was the central driving force in Tata organizations, and how they achieved this kind of stupendous and phenomenal success with this deeper anchoring with environment, with communities, with society, with in any collective human endeavor, with all sections of people and all stakeholders. Just to give you one small anecdote, when Jamshedji Tata decided to, our founder, to set up a steel mill in Bihar, those days it was interior forests in what is today Jharkhand and those days Bihar. And he was moving from one location to another. He saw a coal mine being set up by the British Empire those days, and he wanted some location which is contiguous to the coal mine and a distance of 40, 50, 70 kilometers. And he identified a place. And when he was traveling in the forest, he could see only tribal settlements and tribal children with feather headgear and bow and arrow and these kind of children. And he did a big round of that location. He identified, he said, this is where I'm going to set up the steel mill. And the first set of consultants he brought those days from England were not structural engineers, they were not metallurgists, and they were not experts in steel making or construction. They were two Fabian sociologists called Dr. and Mrs. Sidney and Beatrice Webb. He invited them to come to India to do a social audit to study the life of these tribals and recommend a method by which we can hire to recruit these children and put them in a skills school, train them to become employees of Tata Steel, So the first concern was how we blend with the community in which we want to operate and how we become meaningful and purposeful for the society. He always looked at business as a collective human endeavor, which is meant for human welfare. There are multiple stakeholders. There could be shareholders, there could be customers, there are employees, there is communities, societies in which you operate, there is a government mandate and requirement. How do we understand the aspirations of each of these people and define what is called a collective human welfare? What is collective human welfare? It is deeply rooted in the human consciousness. And some of these things are derived from the ancient wisdom of India. How do you keep all sections of these people happy? Because each one has an expectation with the organization and he is willing to support, he is willing to make a commitment, he is willing to say, look at this is what I can do for you. But how do you engage with them? How do you engage with multiple stakeholders in a very ennobling, in a very service oriented way, in a very forgiving, in a very selfless way, so that you attain human welfare through a business and enterprise, ideally, and then start working towards this state where there is a collective responsibility, collective interconnectedness, collective happiness, and cooperation. How do we drive these energies towards achieving business success? He started from enabling people. By enabling people, how we can achieve business success was the journey. A wisdom approach to capitalism, a compassionate capitalism, which emphasizes on the role of compassion, self-awareness, and interconnectedness among all sections of people. It integrates the living and material elements. See, you can look at a business organization as a living machine. There is a machine part to the business organization with processes, systems, and logical frameworks and all that, which provides a lot of sustenance, which is important. But all this is enabled, energized, and the life is put into this by a living part, an organic part, the life part. How do you integrate the living part of the organization with the material elements of self renewing and success in an organization was an experiment. Those days, 120, 130 years ago, this kind of thought process itself was new, not only in India, but in most regions of the world, including developing countries. The ancient Indian or Eastern wisdom, if I may say, teaches us the role of a clear mindset, higher purpose, building trust with people, with societies, building trust with nature, and a culture of collaboration, compassion, tolerance, and inclusion with all living elements, just not human beings, with all living elements. How do you collaborate with compassion? How do you understand them? How do you integrate them into a collective system which is capable of delivering, your, you know, goals and objectives or what you wish to achieve in life? So this was being tried out by Mr. Tata, blending this with a Western framework of logic. It's very essential. Nobody is saying, these are not platitudes. Nobody is saying a Western framework of logic, the advancements in science and technology, and its ever speedier implementation or application for production and distribution of goods and services, and achieving a robust financial and transactional business oriented result is equally important. But the point here is, how do you blend this with the living elements of an organization holistically such that it becomes an organization which is correcting itself, which is self-regulating, which is concerned about creating a compassionate environment which supports, asserts itself to empower people and to help people realize their potential and actualize their ambitions and aspirations. How do you blend these two is the issue. If you look at another example, during terror attack, when this terrorist entered, barged into the hotel, Taj Mahal Hotel 2611 at 9:30, 9:45 in the evening, when the hotel was packed, 95% occupancy, all the halls were full, restaurants were full, and they started killing people, terrorists, trained terrorists, in the lobby and in the restaurants, and they're moving from one location to another. An estimated 560 employees were inside the hotel. Later on, we could get all the details, and not a single person left the hotel. And on the contrary, some people who had already left or had gone out, they realized there is some problem inside the hotel and they came back and they wanted to put their neck on the line, save the guests, save the customers. This whole issue of service to humanity was taken to a completely different height. About 16 of our employees laid down their lives, in the process of saving guests who were staying in the hotel. There is this 23-year-old girl on Mallika Jagat who was managing as an assistant restaurant manager a large function of Unilever Corporation, global corporation. Unilever were conducting their global workshop where the topmost leadership, 30 to 40 people of Unilevers were there inside, and she was handling their dinner. When this incident happened, the security informed her there is an emergency, please inform them, and you have to take whatever comes to your mind as an action. She calls attention of everybody and says, there seems to be an emergency in the hotel. Ladies and gentlemen, I have decided to switch off the lights. You continue your party, me in my capacity. I will take you to a safer place and I will ensure that you are all rescued. And it doesn't mean I'll put myself to the risk and save you. And at 3 o'clock in the morning, she took them out through the kitchen door in the backside and helped them reach a safer place. They continued their workshop in another hotel the next day. With tears in their eyes, they called her and they made her stand on this dais. And there was a standing ovation for 2 continuous minutes. So they came and asked me, how do you train such people? They are so selfless. They are so spirited. Service is in their, in their DNA. They take service to a spiritual height. How do you create them? Then I tell them, I don't want to claim that, I have done some training programs and all that. That is why they are all like this. It is a culture that has been passed on for generations. From Jamshedji Tata to J.R.D. Tata to Ratan Tata and several generations of people, there has been a demonstration effect of being selfless, serving societies, serving communities, and keeping them happy. So I was going through a book about Japanese organizations. I'm sure many of you are aware who are on the call. There are at least about 200 companies who are older than 250 years in Japan. There are about 50 companies who are older than 500 years in Japan. And there was a seminal study conducted by a gentleman, a professor in Tokyo University. What defines this success, perpetual success and sustainability of these organizations? And he came to a very interesting conclusion. He mentioned in his conclusions, I'm putting it in a nutshell in 1 minute to tell you, that these are organizations where human spirit is respected. These are organizations where human dimensions are paid as much importance and attention as they pay for the linear process, system, logical analysis, and machines and decisions taken to enhance profitability. That is all one side. Parallelly, the senior leadership discusses what are our values, core values? What are the human values? What are the ethical values? Have we complied with it? It is not enough to put up a board at the backside of our hotels in notice board. But are we implementing it in our lives? And where are the violations that have come to our notice? What steps have we taken? There are implementable features, process features for the living side of the organization. Implementable features. See, just to give you one more example, I have 5 more minutes, Vikramji.
You may continue.
5 more minutes?
Yes, you continue, sir. Yes.
Okay. Yes, I'll conclude in 5 minutes. One more example, when Mr. Ratan Tata said he would like to see the families of all the people who have laid down their lives during the terror attack, and he gave me just 24 hours notice to gather them. The families of 16 people had laid down their lives. Some of them had to travel. I made the arrangements for their stay and their travel and all that. And one example I'll just give you and move on, and which I can never forget. I had attended the funeral of one Varghese, Thomas Varghese, who had laid down his life saving about 12 to 15 people, guests as well as employees, working in a restaurant called Wasabi. When the terrorists entered, they followed a system of throwing RDX there so that it catches fire, and it's extremely inflammable. And everybody ducked their head and they didn't know what to do. There was chaos. They went from one location to another. They were carrying AK-57 automatic machine guns. Once you pull the trigger, there's a spray of bullets. They thought all of them will get so terrorized, they will all come running to the lobby. They can come back and kill all of them. So this guy was the senior most person, a waiter. And he said, you let us all hold our hands and first rescue the 9 guests who are sitting here. And he took them through a spiral staircase at the back side into the kitchen. And he said, you go there, I'll be the last person to come. He's standing in the fire, sustaining burn injuries. He's sending all the 12. They're falling head over heels, one or the other, and they're escaping. He says, the other 4 waiters, you go. I know I'm burning, but you all go up. After that only I'll come. So they all escape. And as he was about to escape, one terrorist comes back and a spray of bullets in the body of Varghese. This is noticed by the last fellow who escaped. He had told them where they should hide and what time they should go out and all that instructions. So when these people came out, that waiter who saw Varghese getting, shot down, he said that Varghese is dead. This is the guy who saved us. And they hugged each other. They narrowly escaped death. They were crying with each other. They said the least we could do is to go and inform and thank his wife for such a brave husband and what sacrifice he has made to save us. So when Ratan Tata said he would like to see the families, Varghese's wife came. That day morning was his funeral and cremation. I attended that. And this woman is smiling, crying, breaking down, and she says, I am not unhappy, sir, I'm happy. He followed the real true values, selfless human values of service. And he has been so fond of working in the company, he was very excited to go to office than stay at home. He was committed to service. And this lady is saying, a waiter's wife, money comes and goes, sir. My husband follows true values. He laid down his life like a brave soldier, and he has brought respect and dignity to my family. What I'll do is to put up his photograph in my living room, and we will pray that my children should practice these values. Money is not so important. Who is saying this? A waiter's wife. When she left, Mr. Ratan Tata and Vice Chairman Krishna Kumar, myself, 3 of us were sitting, 4 of us. We were dumbfolded. We had tears in our eyes. We didn't know what to say. Ratan Tata broke the silence and he said, how do you describe this? This is spiritual level of service. This is outstanding, world-beating service. How do you do? Everything looks frivolous, all these words. This fellow laid down his life to save 15 people, and this woman is saying, a waiter's wife, that money is not important. Values are important. I can't believe this. It's amazing. She stands so tall in front of us. We look like pygmies. This Varghese will enter the kingdom of God straight away. He'll be welcome there. Now, then when Dr. Deshpande approached me after about 2-3 months from Harvard University, when this case study was being built, he asked me, how do you build this? How do you build this kind of a totally spirited, selfless commitment? I said, of course, I'll tell you what kind of recruitment we do, what training programs we offer and all this. That is only 5%. 95% of this happens when you build strong stakeholder relationship culture, when you are empathetic, compassionate with all sections of people like customers, employees, societies, communities, whether it is tribal community or other communities, you engage with them, think about their welfare, blend them and their aspirations into your organizational plan. and deliver that plan. Make the people who are around you feel happy, collective human welfare, like I told you in the beginning. Achieve that, and then look at your numbers. But both has to happen parallelly. When this happens, you're building a incredibly strong, where service is taken as a spiritual practice, is taken as a higher level of practice, and you can transform communities and across the world. And this is a new way of looking at organizations, looking at success, looking at sustainability, like that seminal study that person professor in Tokyo University did. So there is a lot of thinking and there's a lot of work one can do in some of these kind of Indian companies. I'm not saying it's only Tata. There are many companies who put service in the center, selflessness in the center, serving communities, serving human welfare in the center, and they achieve success doing all this, and also, business success through financial results. So with these words, I think I have reached my 15 minutes. Thanks for giving me this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Shrinivas. Such an inspiring and real life sharing that you did. Actually, time really flew. When you said, "Do we have more time?" Then, for the first time, I saw a watch while listening to you. It has touched my heart. It must have touched everybody's heart, because these are the real incidences, and this is India's own company, and India has grown with the growth of Tatas. And indeed, no wonder it is one of the most trustworthy brand, because they uphold humanity, they uphold human values. Service is in DNA, as you rightly mentioned. Whether she's Mallika Jagat, she's Thomas Varghese, such names when you quoted, and no wonder Harvard did a research on this. And as you strongly mentioned, that strong stakeholder relationships, culture, these values, 95% of any organization's longevity and success comes from this, and the rest everything counts in 5%. And from you started from JRD and you brought till collective human welfare. It is very inspiring. Thank you very much, Achin Srinivasji, to be here
Thank
with
you.
us.
Thank you. Thanks for the opportunity. Thank you so much.
On behalf of United Consciousness, I thank Mr. H.N. Shrinivas for coming onto the platform of United Consciousness. Thank you so much.